Good afternoon. Thank you, Maribel. Good afternoon, and welcome to the New York State Interagency Winter Assistance Workshops. My name is Alex Carmen. I am the Deputy Director for the Office of Consumer Services within the Department of Public Service, and I will be your MC for today's event. We have 6 presentations today from 5 New York State agencies, who each offer programs to help New York consumers manage their bills, become more energy efficient, and stay safe this winter. The goal of this workshop is to provide you with a one-stop shop for information, materials, and resources that can help you and your constituents during the winter season. A few notes before we begin today's program. Today's workshop will be recorded. A recording of the workshop will be posted to the Department of Public Service website and YouTube within 1 to 2 weeks. The slides will also be posted online, and we'll go over the location at the end of the program. We've reserved about 60 minutes for presentations and the final 30 minutes for questions and answers. If you have a question, please hold it for the end, or else type it into the chat if you're logged into the web presentation. First up today, we have Emily Urban from the Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance, who will present New York's Home Energy Assistance Program. Emily, please begin.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great, thank you. All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Emily Urban from the New York State Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance Home Energy Assistance Program, the HEAP Bureau. Thank you so much to DPS for hosting these workshops and for providing this platform for all of these great agencies to come together and to present on this important information. With the colder temperatures, higher heating fuel prices, and COVID's unrelenting hold over the world, it's more important than ever to share these strategies to protect our most vulnerable populations during the cold winter months. We had a couple major program changes this year to HEAP, and that is what I'm going to be discussing in today's presentation. Next slide, please. So as most of you are probably aware, HEAP is the Home Energy Assistance Program, and this program assists low to moderate income households with their home energy needs through both heating and cooling benefits. The 21-22 HEAP season is in full swing right now. This year, we're able to offer the 6 benefits that are on your screen. We opened our regular benefit component about 1 month earlier this year on October 1st, which allowed for households to get their HEAP benefits sooner and to get their applications in before the very cold weather hit. We're also operating the heating equipment repair replacement benefits year-round, so households that are facing a no-heat emergency due to inoperable or unsafe heating equipment can have their heating systems repaired or replaced no matter what time of year it is. We also offer our clean and tune benefits year-round as well, and that's so homeowners can keep their heating equipment operating at peak efficiency. We just opened up our emergency benefit component on January 3rd. I'm going to be expanding on emergency in just a moment. I don't think anybody's thinking about cooling quite yet, but we will be opening our cooling assistant component this year later this spring on May 2nd. Our newest benefit is first on the list on your screen, and that's our regular arrears supplement program, RAS. This benefit opened up on September 22nd, 2021, and has been a huge success so far. So we do have the tentative closing dates for all of our benefits on the screen there, but please keep in mind that these closing dates are subject to change based on funding and demand for these benefits. So for up-to-date information on when these benefits will close, whether they are extended or close earlier than these dates, we would advise you to check OTDA's website, and that is the link for that is on your screen. Next slide. So as I said, regular arrears supplement, RAS, is a benefit that we're able to operate this program year due to additional funding that New York State received under the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. So while the utility moratorium on physical disconnections was instrumental in preventing loss of gas and electricity service during the COVID-19 pandemic, households were still accruing balances for their unpaid utility bills, which resulted in huge arrears for some households that they were just not able to pay back. In order to prevent those mass shutoffs when the moratorium ended, the RAS benefit was developed. This benefit opened on September 22nd, 2021, and is still open as of today. This benefit is different from the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, ERAP, which also offers a similar benefit for arrears forgiveness. Eligible households can receive up to $10,000 in RAS benefits for unpaid gas and/or electricity utility arrears. These benefits are paid directly to the household utility providers. And the application process for RES is very simple, and some households didn't even have to contact the district to apply. Many of these benefits were determined upfront by the district based on the receipt of HEAP last year. The district's truly knocked this one out of the park. We've been able to pay over $150 million in arrears in just the 4 short months that this benefit has been open. So that's incredible. If you know anyone who would benefit from RAS, please tell them to apply as soon as possible, as funding for this benefit is very limited and it is going fast. Next slide, please. So the other big program change we made this year was to our emergency benefit component. We increased our benefits. If anyone attended the Winter Fuels Outlook in the fall of 2021, you may remember that household heating costs for 21-22 were projected to increase about 14.4% to 42.2%, depending on the household's heating source. And this was due to high demand, low inventory, and delivery constraints. The 2021-2022 emergency benefit component opened on January 3rd, 2022. Households who have exhausted their regular heat benefit that are without heat or are in danger of being without heat and do not have the resources to resolve their emergency can apply for an emergency benefit to prevent or restore loss of heat to their homes. OTDA increased the emergency benefit amount to reflect the increased heating costs to protect vulnerable households during these coldest months. Increasing the benefit amounts will ensure an adequate full-size commodity delivery of oil, kerosene, propane, or wood, or a large enough credit to provide at least 30 days of prospective service for natural gas or electricity. Next slide. So I don't have time today to discuss all of our HEAP benefits, but I did want to make everyone aware that we have flyers, brochures, and posters available to promote all HEAP benefits, and that's including our 2 newest flyers for Cooling and Clean and Tune. A sample of those are on your screen right now. These publications, as well as a list of all other HEAP publications, are available for ordering through OTDA using the link on your screen. Any outreach or information you can provide on HEAP is always helpful, and we would love to provide you with some outreach material to do so. Next slide, please. In order to receive the block grant funding to operate HEAP, OTDA must submit an annual state plan to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services outlining how we will run our program. Each spring, OTDA begins what we refer to as our needs assessment comment period, where we accept public input on the development of the state plan for the upcoming program year. We want to know what is working and what the unmet needs are. We take every comment seriously and encourage anyone to submit comments and suggestions for improvements to the program. When the draft state plan is complete, it is publicly posted for written public comment, and public hearings are held as well. Once the plan is finalized, it is submitted to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services for their approval, and then we are able to run our program. The current HEAP state plan, as well as prior year state plans, can be found on OTDA's website at the link on your screen. Again, we encourage everyone's participation in the needs assessment and the public comment periods, so we are putting forth the best possible program. Last slide, please, or next slide, please. So if someone would like to apply for HEAP, they can do so in the county where they live. The application requirements for each benefit do vary, so applicants should contact the local social services district. A link with contact information for each district is on your screen. Applications for regular benefits may be accepted online on MyBenefits. That's www.mybenefits.ny.gov. This is only for the regular benefit component and only for applicants who do not live in New York City. Next slide. This is the last slide. So this is the conclusion of my presentation on HEAP. OTDA will be presenting again later in this workshop. Anna Vitolins will be providing information on LIWAP, so OTDA's time was a little bit more limited in today's presentation. So we believe that these benefits we're offering for HEAP this year will protect and assist the vulnerable households in meeting their home energy needs. Our contact information for HEAP is on your screen. Thank you so much again for the opportunity to share today, and I'm passing it back to Alex. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Next up, we have Dave Friello from the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority to discuss Empower New York and assisted home performance programs. Dave, please begin.
Great. Thanks, Alex. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dave Friello with NYSERDA, working in our single-family low and moderate income energy efficiency programs. Next slide. Our low-income program is the Empower New York program, serving households with incomes that are below 60% of state median income. And assisted home performance with Energy Star is geared towards households earning between 60% of state median and 80% of area median income. Both programs have a single common application that can be accessed through NYSERDA's website, nyserda.ny.gov/New York/AHP-Empower. Next slide, please. To be eligible for the programs, customers can be either owners or renters of 1 to 4 family existing homes. They need to be electric or natural gas customers of the main utilities: Central Hudson, Con Ed, National Grid, NYSEG, ONR, RG&E, KEDNY or National Grid New York City, and National Fuel Gas. Or they can be electric customers paying into the SBC and have delivered fuel as their primary heat source. So that's oil, propane, kerosene, wood, etc. There is limited funding available for municipal electric customers. Now, the programs are funded through several different sources, including the NYSERDA CEF, New Efficiency New York, various settlement fundings, the Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative, and HEAP funds. Next slide. Generally, the programs provide home energy assessments and improvements. There is no cost direct install measures, such as energy efficient lighting, pipe wrap, potential shower heads. Some of the low cost measures are done at no cost to both low and moderate income customers. The programs also offer insulation, air sealing, heating, HVAC, setback thermostats, and replacement of old and inefficient refrigerators and freezers. That is not the full list, but some more of our more common measures. The low-income program Empower offers an incentive of 100% of eligible work up to $10,000. Whereas the assisted home performance with Energy Star offers a 50% discount on eligible work up to $5,000 for single family, or $10,000 for 2 to 4 family homes. For the balance of the work, low interest financing is available, ranging from 3.49 to 3.99%. And all work that is done through the programs are eligible for a quality insurance, a quality assurance inspection for up to 1 year following the completion of work. We target about 15 to 20% random inspections upon job completion. Next slide. Again, we encourage customers to apply online. If a customer is not able to apply through the online system, there's a PDF, a fillable PDF that is downloadable and able to be printed to provide a paper application. It's also important to note the online application has a Google Translate overlay that translates the application, and I think it's just over 40 different languages, and we are working on translation of paper documents. Both programs offer a free home energy assessment that identifies opportunities for the household to save energy. We encourage all participants to to receive energy education from the contractors that are providing the services. And then again, the direct install happens typically at the time of audit. That are restricted to majority of minor electric savings measures, lights, and assessment of refrigerator freezer replacements. Then once that home energy assessment is done, contractor then proposes that project to NYSERDA. Next slide. Where the work scope that they recommend is reviewed for thoroughness, for for investment purposes, where does the work make sense for that home? Typically, we turn around those project approvals in about 2 days. Once approved, the energy efficiency measures are installed by the contractor. And then upon completion of the work, we review invoices and approve for payment. NYSERDA issues payment directly to the contractors. And again, about 15% of our projects are selected for third-party quality assurance inspections. Next slide. So customers, when they apply to the program, are required to provide income documentation. The majority of our applicants can utilize an existing award letter from HEAP or SNAP, TANF, SSI, dated within the last 12 months. So a customer that applies to the program is able to upload a copy of that letter, and that is the only income documentation that is necessary for the program. If those award letters are not available or can't be accessed, the household can upload various documentation to demonstrate their gross income. Pay statements, other award letters, self-employment documentation. We prefer a gas or electric or both utility bills are uploaded at the time of application, and of course proof of ownership of the home, or in rental situations we seek landlord permission or landlord authorization so that we can serve the home in a more comprehensive manner. But if the landlord is not involved, we can still do non-invasive measures on behalf of tenants. Next slide. A couple of helpful links. So when you receive a copy of the presentation, there's links to the Empower Program website, the Assisted Home Performance Program website, some information about NYSERDA financing options. Again, a copy of a link to the application, and then our contractor resource manual. If you know of contractors that provide these types of services and want to sign up for the program, they can access all of the program information at the contractorsupport.com website. Next slide. If you need to reach out to us, you can reach out to support.residential@nyserda.ny.gov. That is a kind of a central repository for all incoming support requests, where it'll get triaged to the right folks. That system automatically will generate a ticket so that you can follow the process for when to expect a reply, and if you need to reference that in any future communications, you can do so. And then our support number, phone number 877-697-6278. That is my last slide. I look forward to any questions when it's time for that. And I'll pass it over to Alex.
Thank you, Dave. Just a reminder that we are monitoring the chat and we'll address questions at the end of all of the presentations. So if you have a question right now, just put it into the chat and we'll get to it at the end. Next up, we have Beth Ryan from Homes and Community Renewal to discuss winter weatherization programs. Beth, take it away.
Thank you, Alex. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Beth Ryan, and I'm the policy unit manager for HCR's Weatherization Assistance Program. Before I start my presentation, I want to thank the Commission and the DPS staff for hosting these meetings. I think it's a great opportunity for all of us to come together and share the resources that are available in New York State. And I'm hoping this is the first of what's going to become an annual series of workshops. Next slide, please, Alex. The Weatherization Program was created by Congress 45 years ago last month, as a matter of fact. And the intent of it was to increase the energy efficiency in housing occupied by low-income persons. We do provide assistance to every type of residential unit in New York State, whether it's a small multifamily or a large multifamily project, owner-occupied, tenant-occupied, and mobile homes. We do have a strong quality assurance component, which we are very proud of. We have trained staff at both the local and the state level, and fully 10% of all of the units that are completed in New York State are actually inspected by the HCR field staff on an annual basis. We provide an emphasis on health and safety issues in the home. We receive funding from both the United States Department of Energy and Health and Human Services LIHEAP program. We receive fully 10% of the federal DOE appropriation every year for weatherization. And here in New York State, we receive 10% of whatever the LIHEAP allocation is for that year. Our income eligibility is based strictly on gross income of the household, and we adhere to the HEAP guidelines, and 60% of the New York State median income is the criteria. Next slide, please. We receive annual allocations from both the Department of Energy, as I stated before, and Health and Human Services. Our current program year funding is $65 million, and that's been fairly consistent over the last several years. The average house investment per project is approximately $7,000, and all of our projects are completed by the 31st of March each program year. Next slide, please. Our services are delivered by nonprofit partners. The program is available in every county in New York State, and in upstate New York, the partners that we utilize tend to be community action agencies. The eligibility and building qualification rules are that 66% of a multifamily building must contain residents that meet the low income criteria. And if it's a 2-family or 4-family, we require 50% adherence to that qualification. We do allow owner participation and tenant protections in the program, and we generally expect an owner of a rental property to contribute 25% of the value of the project. If for some reason that can't happen, we do have a process to waive that requirement. The targeted assisted households are those households that have high energy burdens, that are have HEAP clients in the household, that are seniors and persons with disabilities, and also families with young children. We do have a very prescribed process and a very tight timeline. I won't go into those details here, but all that information is available on our website in our policies and procedures manual. Next slide, please, Alex. With the typical weatherization work scope, all of the investments are determined by a fully instrumented energy audit, and each measure must be cost effective. We do replace heating systems, but generally on an energy efficiency basis. If it's an emergency no heat program or situation, we do refer that household to the local DSS emergency heating repair and replacement program. We provide air sealing as a general measure, attic and wall insulation and other appropriate insulation, electric baseload reduction measures, health and safety work, which we do place an emphasis on, and we do provide incidental repairs in the conduct of the work to protect the weatherization measures that we're installing. Next slide, please. We do have a policies and procedures manual, which is a very comprehensive document that's updated on a regular basis. We require all of our work providers to work to standard work specifications. We have a weatherization field guide that we do update on a regular basis to make sure that the technology is current and best practices are required. And we just updated our field guide last month, as a matter of fact. We require a quality control inspection on 100% of the work that's done at the local level. And then our field staff at HCR provide 5 to 10% quality control inspections on all of the units that we oversee. We also adhere to other state and federal requirements, specifically the formal procurement process and competitive bidding. We have all of our appropriate properties reviewed by the State Historic Preservation Office, and we do adhere to the MWBE requirements, and we monitor against that on a quarterly basis. Next slide, please. We do have other initiatives that we're looking at right now. We definitely think there's a potential to increase the use of renewables in low-income housing and in our program. Several years ago, the Department of Energy funded a pilot project where we did, in fact, apply for and receive some money. It was a solar PV project, and it was a successful pilot. They now are beginning to make additional money available, and we're very much interested in applying for that and taking advantage of it because we do have experience with renewables in the program. This year, we have made a DSS through HHS, or OTDA rather, has made available up to $57 million out of the American Rescue Plan Act funding here in New York State. And we're going to use that money because there is some flexibility in it to provide enhanced measures that further the goal of the Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act. And the major focus of that will be towards electrification in the low-income households. And we also will be able to place additional emphasis on health and safety measures with the use of that money. For instance, radon mitigation will be an allowable measure, and that's the first time in this program that we've ever had money to be made available to mitigate low-income households' issues with radon. Next slide, please. We do use a whole house approach, which is one of the reasons why we feel we've been so successful in reducing energy in New York State. Weatherization works because of that. We facilitate coordination with other programs, and one of the best examples of that is the fact that we worked with NYSERDA staff to develop a joint application. So a low-income customer can apply for both the Weatherization Assistance Program through HCR and NYSERDA's Empower program by completing the same application. We maximize energy savings by the work that we do. We do identify health, safety, and structural concerns, and we leverage other funding as a matter of course. And over the last couple of years, we have averaged almost $12 million in leveraged funds. Next slide, please. If we do look at the healthy homes issues within a particular dwelling unit, unfortunately, a lot of times we have to defer work if there are extensive health and safety hazards that exist that are beyond the scope of weatherization. We do have all of the staff that provides the service at the local level, as well as HCR's field staff. They are all trained in lead-safe work practices in order to minimize any risks. We identify where possible and correct mold, moisture, and other asthma triggers within reason. Obviously, a lot of that's very expensive when we don't have the resources to do that. Although with ARPA funding, we may begin to look at some of those projects. And we do also routinely address indoor air quality issues such as carbon monoxide. Next slide, please. The Department of Energy several years ago did conduct a national evaluation, and at that time it was found that for every dollar invested in a weatherization project, the community benefit that was accrued was $2.51, making it one of the most cost-effective low-income programs in the country. Next slide, please. We do put an emphasis on accountability and quality. We have a policy manual that's updated regularly. We have quality initiatives. We require quality work plans. We do adhere to standard work specifications. And we do require certifications and trainings as appropriate at all levels of staff at the local and the state level. And we do have improved on oversight and monitoring. We complete a very comprehensive annual evaluation of each subgrantee, and we very strictly monitor compliance to all required rules on an ongoing basis. Next slide, please. This is the information to contact us. That's a general weatherization mailbox. So if you have a question or you want to know who the weatherization provider is in a particular area, you can send an email to that address, or you can call, and those phones are monitored 24 hours a day. If you leave a message, we will get back to you very, very shortly. And if you have a specific question, don't hesitate to call me or email me. And I'm always available and will do my best to answer a question for you. So once again, I thank you, DPS, for hosting these, and look forward to answering any questions you may have. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you, Beth. Next up, we have Judy Coyne from the State Office for the Aging, who will discuss New York Connects and services for older adults and their caregivers. Judy, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Alex. I'm here today on behalf of our director, Greg Olson, and the dedicated staff of the New York State Office for the Aging. I want to thank, again, DPS for hosting this in the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, New York State Homes and Community Renewal, and the New York State Office for Temporary Disability Assistance. And I echo Beth when she said that we hope that this is an ongoing program, and we can do this annually. Really appreciate it, being asked to participate today. Next slide, please. So a NYSOFA, our mission is to help older New Yorkers be as independent as possible for as long as possible. We do this through advocacy, development, and delivery of person-centered, consumer-oriented, and cost-effective policy programs and services that support and empower older adults and their families. We do this in partnership with a network of public and private organizations that serve them. So we do this by promoting and administering programs and services for older adults, caregivers, and persons with disabilities. Our network partners with 59 county-based area agencies on aging and nearly 1,200 community organizations. And we'll talk a little bit about the 20 core services that we provide. And of course, there are more than that, but just 20 core that we'll talk about today. Next slide, please. So when we're talking about the social, economic, and intellectual contributions of older New Yorkers, just a little bit about them. There are 4.6 million New Yorkers age 60 and above, ranking New York fourth in the nation. 935 individuals age 60 and above contribute 495 million hours of community service and economic value of $13.8 billion. 64% of individuals age 60 and over own their own homes. They have no mortgage and they contribute directly to the local tax base. 4.1 million are caregivers, average age 64, and they provide unpaid care for a loved one at a total market value of $32 billion. This is a huge, huge investment of time, energy, that we really couldn't do without these caregivers. Individuals age 50 and over account for most of the volunteering, philanthropy, entrepreneurs, and donation activities in the U.S. And 80% of the New York State retirement system payouts stay right here in New York, $10.6 billion annually. Next slide, please. So this is some of the core services that I was mentioning earlier. We provide home delivered meals. You may know them in your community as Meals on Wheels. We have congregate meal sites, and that's places where older adults can go and have meals in a congregate setting, and there are usually other programs and services that are available at the congregate meal site. Nutrition counseling and education that can be community-based or individual counseling and education based on a person's medical needs if they get discharged from the hospital. We provide senior center programming, all kinds of programs and services through senior centers, health promotion and wellness, and evidence-based interventions, and there are so many of those that prevent falls and help people with diabetes and be able to stay on their diets and give them ideas and recipes. We provide volunteer opportunities for older adults that want to stay and remain involved in their communities. And very important, we provide respite services for those caregivers that are providing so many hours of caregiving service. Without respite, they can't continue to provide. They need a break every now and then, and we provide that respite. We provide legal services for older adults if they feel that they're not being treated fairly, they need help with a landlord, or they have any type of legal service issue. We have a free legal service that we provide for them. We provide home modifications and repairs, information and assistance to programs that are mentioned today, HEAP and also supplemental nutritional assistance programs. There is a no wrong door New York Connects information and assistance referral telephone line that can be called, where individuals can receive benefits, application assistance, and counseling. Application assistance for programs like we're talking about today, and those applications they can assist an individual to fill out an application over the phone, or they can go to their home if the circumstances allow for that, given the public health issues we're having right now. We provide health insurance information, counseling, and assistance program. So when older adults are trying to unravel a Medicare program, when it comes time to sign up for a Medicare program, it can be very confusing. And so we have trained high-cap counselors that will work with individuals to help them choose the proper program that will meet their specific needs. We provide personal care level 1 and level 2 services. Those are in-home services that are non-medical, but provide care to persons such as housekeeping, shopping, and some personal care when people need that type of care. These are non-Medicaid funded services. And for many people, this is what keeps them out of a nursing home or moving towards an assisted living facility, because they just need a little bit of extra help in the home. They can't do laundry, they can't travel, maybe they need a ride to the store, they need a few things, they need some assistance, and they may not have the supports in place for that. We provide case management, ancillary services that are very important, such as a personal emergency response system. So if somebody has difficulty and they're home alone, they can press a button on a necklace and get emergency help immediately, and also assistive devices in the home to help people stay safe. We provide social adult day service programs that give older adults that may have disabilities or dementia type need, and it gives them socialization. There's meals involved, and it makes it a really fun day for them. And it also provides a respite service for the caregivers. We provide transportation to needed medical appointments, community services, and activities. I wanted to say I'm a former director of an area agency on aging, and many of those appointments are very important. They go to dialysis, they go to chemotherapy appointments. These are very, very needed services, and it's important that we continue with them. We also have an employment program for older adults, and many older adults are re-entering the workforce, and the name of the program is Title V. So we can assist older adults that want to re-enter the system and they want to maybe receive some training, we can provide training. We can provide opportunities for them to work and build their skill set so that they can re-enter the workplace and actually help them to find a position in the workplace. And we also have a very important program called the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program, and that is a trained person that assists those older adults who are disabled, who are in a long-term care system and need resources because they may not feel that they are getting the proper care, or they may have a complaint that they want to rise above the nursing home level. Next slide, please. Our infrastructure by the numbers. We have 59 county-based area agencies on aging, so we reach out to the entire state. 1,176 contractors supporting the community-based care needs of our older adults and their caregivers. We spoke earlier about the senior centers. There are 777 in 819 of those congregate meal sites and 315 centralized kitchens in the state. We have 2,057 home delivered meals. We deliver millions of home delivered meals. We are the largest meal program and area agency on aging, New York State Office for the Aging, in the United States. We deliver more meals than any other. So we basically are the largest restaurant. We have 41 of the highest level evidence-based interventions that serve over 35,000 older New Yorkers. Next slide, please. New York State Office for the Aging partners with the 59 AAAs, the 1,200 community partners that we spoke about earlier. And we have such a trusted relationship with the network that's serving the vulnerable population. And we have a 40-year record of strong community-based relationships. The persons in each county or borough that are serving from the area agency on aging, they know their friends and their neighbors, and can really develop programs and services that meet the needs of the rural or urban area that they serve. And they're, like we had just said, they have very strong relationships with their communities. We are experienced with hospital transitions, evidence-based programs, cultural and linguistic competence. We have a holistic approach, helping people at home, serving as the eyes and ears for the medical professions across the setting. We work a lot on care transitions. We are able to help people who are transitioning, older adults who are transitioning from hospital to home, home to hospital, back to the community again, from nursing home back to the community. And it's very important, the work that we do, and it saves a lot of money for New York State and a lot of difficulties for the older adult. It makes it a whole lot easier for them to make those transitions. We have a single point of entry for individuals needing an array of supportive services, and we serve our clients for life. It's not an episode focused event, and we are not insurance driven. Next slide, please. So connecting with our help and assistance, you can link on any of these email sites and receive more information about where our local area agencies on aging are. You can contact your local office, or you can contact New York State Office for the Aging website. And also we have a program called the Health Insurance Information Counseling and Assistance Program, which I spoke about earlier, that answers the questions about the Medicare and long-term care insurance. We have counseling sites out in the community, and we also have HICAP counselors that can come to the individuals that they need to counsel. And we spoke earlier also about the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program, which is a very important program helping older adults, people with disabilities who live in facility settings, and they need to understand and exercise their rights. And there's a number below and a link for the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. Next slide, please. So connecting with our help and assistance, New York Connects is that trusted one-stop information about long-term care services supports in every community. We have an online resource directory where you can see a link to that. And we have a statewide telephone number that connects callers with their local offices for aging when they do need assistance. Sorry, my phone rang and I thought I had it turned down. Apologize for that. Next slide, please. And if you'd like any more information about the New York State Office for the Aging and the programs that we provide, you can contact me directly. I'm the Assistant Director of the Local Program Operations. You have a link to my website and my telephone number. Please feel free to call me. We are kind of a social service agency that benefits so much from the programs and services that are being presented today. I'd like to just give you an example of something happened less than 10 days ago, where a local New York Connects office was contacted, and we received a call from a gentleman who had not accessed us before, and he had received a regular heat benefit of kerosene, and he was low on fuel, and we know how cold it was. And he had money to fill a 5-gallon tank with kerosene. And he really had to make a decision of whether or not he was going to fill that 5-gallon tank of kerosene or he was going to use that money for food. And so we were able to link him with programs and services, meals and meal delivery. And also he got linked with this expanded heat benefit of $965, along with the knowledge that if that heat benefit was depleted, that he could come back and it was possible for him to receive fuel again if the state issued a secondary emergency heat benefit. So what you do in these agencies matters so much to the people in the community. And I thank you for having NYSOFA come to the table today. And we look forward to participating if this becomes an annual program. Thank you so much. I give it back to you, Alex.
Thank you, Judy. Next, I will turn it over to my colleagues, Craig Carroll and Maribel Rivera from the Department of Public Service to discuss the Energy Affordability Program and consumer protections. Craig, please begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Alex, and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Craig Carroll, and I will be discussing the Utility Energy Affordability Programs. But first, just a brief description of the Public Service Commission. The Public Service Commission regulates the state's electric, gas, steam, telecommunications, and water utilities and oversees the cable industry. And part of the Commission's mission is to ensure safe, secure, and reliable service at just and reasonable rates. Next slide, please. In 2016, the Public Service Commission established a statewide low-income discount program for major investor-owned utilities. The primary goal of the program was to achieve a 6% energy burden for low-income households. Customers who received HEAP are automatically enrolled into the utility low-income program, but other public assistance programs may qualify a customer as well. And these programs include a reconnection fee waiver component. Next slide, please. Customers enrolled in the affordability program are automatically enrolled in the utility's budget billing plan. However, a customer may opt out by contacting the utility. Recently, the Commission issued an order that made program improvements, which included modifications to how the discounts are calculated, expanded the eligibility criteria, and directed utilities to create a uniform process and application to allow a customer to self-certify for program enrollment. The self-certification process was recently developed and now offered by the utilities. Next slide, please. As discussed above, enrollment into the utility program is based on participating in other public assistance programs. For example, National Grid includes this list of qualifying programs. As noted on the side, DPS is working with the utilities and stakeholders to develop a consistent statewide qualifying list. Next slide, please. For any information regarding the affordability program, customers may contact their respective utility. All utilities offer phone and email as a way to contact them, but some utilities may offer other contact methods such as a chat function or other digital services. Also, all utilities have robust outreach and education programs which include various methods of dispensing low-income program information to its customers. Next slide, please. Lastly, utility websites also include information regarding their affordability programs, and those links are provided on this slide. And that completes the overview of the Energy Affordability Program. And I will now turn the presentation over to Maribel to discuss consumer rights and protections. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Maribel Rivera, and I will be discussing consumer rights and protections. And although the Department of Public Service conducts outreach all year long regarding consumer rights and protections, we reinforce this message during the winter months, which can be particularly hard for utility consumers, especially older adults and consumers with limited income. Customer protections are laid out from the Home Energy Fair Practices Act. It's also known as the Utility Consumers Bill of Rights. The acronym is HEFPA, and it provides residential customers with comprehensive protections in areas relating to their energy service, such as termination and reconnection of service, customer billing, and procedures for filing a complaint regarding utility service. Of particular note for our winter campaign are the HEFPA cold weather protections, which are in place from November 1st through April 15th each winter season. Some of these protections are that the utilities must determine whether termination will result in serious impairment to health or safety, or whether the utility can terminate service if the consumer is likely to suffer a serious impairment to health or safety, unless steps are taken to contact their local Department of Social Services. Lastly, during the pandemic, a shut-off moratorium provided additional protections for utility consumers. The grace period for that ended on December 21st, 2021. Next slide, please. There's more information about all of the items that we've discussed here. You can go to our agency's website at dps.ny.gov. We also have a dedicated page for the winter preparedness, which can be reached by using the short URL on the slide. The page has a lot of information that you've already heard during this workshop and includes ways to manage winter bills, financial assistance programs, consumer protections, and energy efficiency tips. The page also has links to New York State and utility assistance programs, as well as the ability to provide DPS consumer publications in multiple languages. Materials can be downloaded or printed, or they may be ordered from the webpage. Thank you for your time. Alex, take it away.
Thank you, Craig and Maribel. Last but not least, Anna Vitolins from the Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance will discuss the new Low-Income Household Water Assistance Program. Anna, please begin.
Thank you, Alex. Good afternoon, and thank you to DPS for inviting OTDA to this valuable workshop series. Sharing this information in conjunction with other programs is crucial in assisting New York's low-income households, especially during the cold winter months. Again, my name is Anna Vitolins, and I'm here to talk about the Low-Income Household Water Assistance Program. Next slide. The Low-Income Household Water Assistance Program, or LIHWAP, is a brand new program designed to help people in New York State pay past due drinking water and wastewater bills. The program opened December 1st of 2021. Eligible households are not required to repay any portion of a LIHWAP grant, and there are no liens placed on the property. When people call into our call center requesting information, they often ask what the catch is and are surprised to find out that if they are eligible, there is none. Next slide. The program is funded by a $69.8 million federal block grant as part of the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2021 and the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. The grant is a one-time payment issued to states in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Currently, there is no additional funding. Our goal is to show that this program is a much needed resource for our vulnerable households and that this funding will continue beyond the end date of September 30th, 2023. Next slide. LIHWAP is closely modeled on the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program, LIHEAP, and eligibility and benefits are based on income and household size, and households must include a U.S. citizen, a U.S. national, or a qualified alien. The differing qualifying eligibility factor for LIHWAP is the amount owed on a drinking water or wastewater bill, and that bill must be in the applicant's name, or they must provide proof that they pay the vendor directly. Next slide. Benefits are paid directly to water vendors and are not issued to applicants. Applicants may be eligible for up to $2,500 in past due drinking water bills, $2,500 for past due wastewater bills, and if those two services are combined on one bill, up to $5,000 can be issued for past due combined drinking water and wastewater bills. For the LIHWAP program, it's important to note that a bill is considered in arrears or past due if it is 20 days past the due date on the bill provided by the applicant, the most recent bill provided by the applicant. Next slide. As you've heard in other programs, LIHWAP also has categorical income eligibility. Applicants who already receive the Home Energy Assistance Program benefits, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, Temporary Assistance, or Code A Supplemental Security Program, SSI Living Alone, have a streamlined application eligibility process. Next slide. Unlike HEAP, LIHWAP is administered at the state level and not through the counties. All benefits are processed right here in Albany for all the counties in New York State. All the counties have received information about LIHWAP, but they are not processing the applications at the county sites. The easiest way to apply is through the LIHWAP application portal, and applicants will have to create an ny.gov ID in order to submit their application. Supporting documentation, once that is created and they apply, can be added right through this portal. Applicants can then be notified electronically if additional documents are needed or when a decision has been made on the application. Right now, LIHWAP is highlighted on a splash page on OTDA's website, and that's otda.ny.gov. From there, you can click on the Learn More button. You can find eligibility information, including an overview of the program, what documentation an applicant needs to apply, income guidelines, and frequently asked questions. Vendors can also find information on how to become a vendor. Applications can be downloaded and printed from the OTDA LIHWAP website and mailed to New York State OTDA LIHWAP, PO Box 1789, Albany, New York, 12201. They can also be faxed to 518-486-1259. If applicants do not have access to the internet, they may call our call center and request an application be mailed to them. And that phone number, which will appear on the screen in a couple screens, is 833-690-0208. But again, that will be on in two screens. Next slide. There are over 3,000 drinking water and wastewater vendors in New York State, and the LIHWAP Bureau has received vendor agreements from many of the largest drinking water and wastewater providers, and they are approved vendors. Drinking water, wastewater, and combined drinking water and wastewater suppliers who are interested in becoming a LIHWAP vendor should go to the otda.ny.gov website and review the New York State LIHWAP vendor agreement, the substitute W-9, and attachment 1, the OTDA security and confidentiality terms. Once those are reviewed, you can apply to become a vendor right online through the portal at otda.ny.gov. And if your vendor is not currently a LIHWAP vendor, please reach out to your water or wastewater vendor or your municipality, if that's how you get your water or wastewater, and encourage them to be a LIHWAP vendor. We can definitely tell the vendors who are approved and who have let their customers know about LIHWAP, as we've received many applications from these vendors. For more information, go to otda.ny.gov/programs/LIHWAP, or you can email us at nysliwap.vendor@otda.gov. And again, all that information is on that OTDA website. Next slide. Please spread the word about LIWAP. We are a brand new program. As I said, we just opened December 1st, and we are so pleased at how this program is being rolled out, but we encourage anyone to spread the word as widely as possible. You can email us at nyslihwap@otda.ny.gov to request an informational flyer to send to your partners, to potential applicants, to anyone you want, and help us spread the word about LIWAP. Next slide. Back to our contact information. The most important phone number on this page is the LIWAP call center number. That's 833-690-0208. You can also email us at P.O. Box 1789, Albany, New York, 12202. The LIWAP call center again, 833-690-0208, or email us. Applicants can email us at nysliwap@otda.ny.gov. Vendors, we have a specific vendor email box, and that's nysliwap.vendor@otda.ny.gov. And again, that fax number is 518-486-1259. Next slide. Please visit otda.ny.gov/programs/LIWAP to apply or to get any information that you would want about the LIWAP program. Again, spread the word and utilize that call center number of 833-690-0208. And for our additional programs, clients can call the OTDA client hotline at 1-800-342-3009. Thank you very much, and back to you, Alex.
Thank you, Anna. That concludes the presentation portion of today's workshop. I want to thank today's presenters, Emily Urban from the Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance, Dave Friello from the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, Beth Ryan from Homes and Community Renewal, Judy Coyne from the State Office for the Aging, Craig Carroll and Maribel Rivera from the Department of Public Service, and Anna Vitolins from the Office of Temporary and Disability Assistance for their contributions to today's program. A few notes before we move into the question and answer portion of the program. First, all 5 workshops in this series include the same content. Therefore, while we don't discourage you from attending more than one event, attending one workshop is probably sufficient. Next, you may receive a survey after today's workshop. We would appreciate if you could fill out the survey and let us know how we can improve this program. Finally, the slides from today's presentation will be posted to the Department of Public Services website at dps.ny.gov/winter. I'll say that again, DPS, D as in David, P as in Peter, S as in Sam, .ny.gov/winter. They should be posted in about a week. All right, we've budgeted about 30 minutes for questions. If you would like to ask a question, please click in the raised hand icon following the instructions on the slide. So just scroll your mouse over your name and you should see a little hand icon. Press the hand icon and that will let us know that you want to ask a question to one of the panelists. For those folks who have connected by the phone, you can raise your hand virtually by pressing *3, and then you can lower your hand again by pressing *3. Again, if you're on the phone, to raise your hand, press *3, and to lower your hand, press *3. Once you have been called on and your question has been answered, please be sure to lower your hand by clicking the raised hand icon or pressing *3 again. All right, we've got a couple questions in the chat. We'll address those first. So the first question we have is for HCR. Is the weatherization field guide available for viewing on HCR's website?
I'm not sure that it's been loaded yet to the website, but I will double check. If it hasn't been, it will be.
Thank you. Any other questions? Again, please raise your hand by clicking the icon, pressing *3, or entering a question into the chat. So we have one question from Maureen Estabrooks. Maureen, let's unmute you and then you can ask your question.
Repeat. Hi, I just wanted to know if I could have that web address repeated again so I can have the slides for the webinar.
Sure. It's
All right.
dps.ny.gov/winter.
Okay,
dps.ny.gov/winter. Thanks.
super. Thank you so much.
I think it was also entered in the chat if you have any, if you want to write it down. All right, any questions? Please raise your hand. Press the raised hand icon, *3 on the phone, or enter your question into the chat. We'll give it one more minute for questions. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you found the workshop informative. This concludes the workshop. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.